so good. Hey, I think I see Terry Cooper.
How many people are expecting?
I don't know. I gave out the link to lots and lots and lots of people. Thousands of people. What is it? Okay, where is it? 3 people.
Who's that guy in the background?
Happy one? Happy smiling guy?
Hey, have you been out on doing service calls all day?
Yep, I just got home about 6:30.
Ah, and your wife said, "Come go with me. I'm gonna make you famous," right?
You know how it goes. You know all too well. And he said, I'll show up later. And I said, like heck you will.
Yeah, you better be here now.
We were supposed to do 5 calls today, but man, 2 of them took a long time. We only got to 3 of them today.
Ah, well.
You ever seen a power storage surge melt a lower cold refrigerator circuit board to the point that it's got a big black hole in it?
What hit that thing?
I have no idea. I think high amperage.
Wow.
That's
usually.
It melted all the heating elements. It melted the circuit board, and it melted the power cord going into the circuit board. It also took out the surge arrestor in the washer, and took out the high limit switches in the dryer and the power converter.
So they obviously didn't have an EMS system, huh?
No, they did.
They did?
And it took that out too.
Boy, that was quite a hit then.
Yeah, it was a big one.
Wonder what it did to the microwave and the air conditioner.
So far, they're still working.
Really? And the converter too, is it working okay?
No, the converter was done. I changed that today too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. People are joining. So far, we're up to 10. That's wonderful. Here comes Brian. Wonder if this is Brian Peterson. Or so how's the weather in Texas, Terry?
It was up to 80s today, but we've got a big storm blowing in tonight. So, typical spring in Texas. You know how that is.
Yeah.
But no, trees are budding out. And Yveda's got allergies because of all the pollen. So, oh yeah.
Yeah. Local honey. Gotta load up on that local honey.
Is Aveda's dog still around?
I'm sorry?
Is Aveda's dog still around?
Her dog, you mean the weenie dog?
Yeah.
No, Mr. Mo had a stroke.
Oh, no.
Yeah, actually he had several strokes, and the last one, he was blind and he was in pain, and so we had to say goodbye. So,
how long ago was that?
About a year now. A year. Yeah.
She had that dog forever.
Yeah. Yeah, Mo the Wonder Weenie dog.
Okay. I'm gonna go to Facebook one more time and see. Starting now. Okay, and then we're going to get started because we only have like 45 minutes or so. That's not it. There we go. Well, I'm happy for everyone that joined us. Thank you so much. I'm Kimberly. This is my husband, Chris, and we have a RV company called Travel Tech Mobile RV Repair, and if you can see Mr. Terry Cooper, it was at his facility in Athens, Texas, that Chris got certified to be able to do the RV repair. Us and the Coopers have been friends for almost 10 years. Yeah, it's a long time. We were friends when we had another company called Full Time Families, which supports the traveling needs of full-time RVing families. But we sold that business and we went into the RV repair business. And Terry Cooper was kind enough to help us make that transition, that giant leap. So I know that there was a bunch of questions on the Facebook group about how to go about starting a mobile RV repair business. So I thought we could just knock out all the birds with one stone and just have this Zoom meeting and go through our top 7 tips and then answer your questions. I'm supposed to be being joined by Brian Peterson and Peyton Ritchie and possibly Kevin Hutchinson, along with myself and Christopher, to answer your questions. So I hope they are able to join us and chime in. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna go down the list and then we can just take questions and keep it real simple and low key and non-structured. So I wrote these top 7 tips really quickly today, thinking back about what I feel like we did well and what we saw in the field of other people who weren't doing well. And I felt like if they got these top 7 things right, they'd be 90% of the way there for their own successful mobile RV business. So my first tip is do establish a mission statement for your business. Our mission statement is actually a Bible verse, and it's I'm going to paraphrase it. It's do your work as if you're doing it for the Lord, not for man. And I know that that has helped us to always, always, always do the right thing. When there are gray areas in our business, we don't have to even think about it. Just setting that foundation, that mission statement for ourselves has been the launching pad for us to just always do the right thing, whether that's not squelch on quality, or unfortunately some people want you to make erroneous warranty claims. What are the things that we run into?
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's a big one. So just establishing our mission statement from the get-go has just been the foundation that we've launched from. And I strongly, that might not be one of someone's tips for how to have a mobile RV repair business, but it's just a good life tip. And it's served us well. The next top 7 I have is do get all your ducks in a row with insurance, business licenses, sales tax, collection, etc. So maybe you can expand a little bit on that, Chris, because you've done most of that.
Well, really you need to set up a business, whether it's an LLC or a corporation, and get all your sales tax stuff done for your state, and keep all your papers up to date. It's very important to not be audited, and if you are, then to make sure that everything is going to go smooth for you in the event that happens. There's a lot of guys running around that haven't set up businesses and don't have their insurances in place, and that can really become an iffy situation.
Yeah. And if you don't have your insurance and you get sued, you're totally hosed. So again, this goes back to your mission statement and setting everything up right, having everything legit and above board, because it can get murky really fast, and you just want to be able to point to all the I's you dotted and all the T's you crossed to support yourself if you find yourself in a situation that you didn't expect. My next tip is do have a digital presence. Either Google, Google, Facebook, Instagram. Those are the big places where people go to look for RV techs, mobile RV techs in their area, specifically Google. You're going to want to start out the gate with probably a Google My Business account so that the people can find you pretty quickly. Most of our calls come through people.
I would say 90% of them in the very beginning will come through Google. Once you start getting your name out there, a lot of referrals will come. But we even still do Google ads and pay for Google advertising, so we're always at the top. You'd be surprised people forget about you and will find you again and reuse your services.
Yeah. I see that Up and Running RV is having audio issues. I'm not sure I have it. Oh, you've got it. Okay, good. Do make business cards and visit all the local RV parks. That's another way to get yourself off the ground running. Go and I suggest bringing a small care package or a gift with you to the RV parks. Those are going to be your main other referrals other than your digital presence. People are either going to do one of two things. They're going to Google, or they're going to go to the front desk of the RV park and ask who services the park, and you want that answer to be you. So bring your cards, bring a present, treats, whatever, and be friendly. And that's a really great way to get your foot in the door. Definitely do that as soon as you're new in the area. And also, seasonally, you might want to also connect with them. So once you're up and running, you might not find that you're in the office all that much, but every once in a while, seasonally stop in the office again with more treats, and you'll be their number one RV guy, right?
Yeah.
Do reach out to your fellow RV repair professionals in the area, including RV repair shops and RV dealers. This might not be, you might consider these people to be your competition, but they're actually one of your best resources. I'm sure anyone who's been in this industry for more than a minute knows that there's an abundance of work, and it's really good to have those connections with the local guys and shops. You'd be amazed how much work is referred amongst the shops. In fact, just tomorrow, Chris is going to spend the whole day at a shop getting them back up to
Caught up.
Yeah, getting them caught up. So he's going to hit.
And in Florida, we used to do that with another shop. They'd have us come almost once a week and do a bunch of work for them and get them caught up.
Yeah.
So that they wouldn't fall behind.
So do reach out to them. When we got here, we did the same thing, and many people reached out to us, and it really made such a difference. And it's just a wonderful way to have a good working relationship with everybody in the area. Do answer the phone and or return customers' calls. This might be actually very rudimentary, but you'd be amazed how many people in the business don't answer the phone and never return a call. I must hear that 3 and 4 times a day. Oh, you answered the phone. Oh, you called me back. It's actually very, it's a bad business practice in our industry. I don't know if it's across the board for repairmen, but the bar is really kind of low for setting yourself up for extreme customer service. So just answering the phone and calling people back already sets you in another realm of the RV repair businesses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And showing up.
Yeah. Do take jobs you are confident you can handle, and do disclose if a job is outside your area of expertise. Whether that's after you've already taken the job, you might get there and think you're going to be able to handle it, and you might get there and think, oh gosh, this is way bigger. You need to remember, you're a mobile repair tech. At least that's what we are. We do have space here that we do work at, but we don't actually have a shop. And so there are some things that we just won't take on because it's just not a good fit for us in the mobile realm. And so if they call and say, ask for something that we don't do, I'm very upfront and say, no, I'm sorry, we don't do that. That's where you could have your other friends in the RV industry swapping. So we don't obviously do any collision repair, but we know someone who does. So I can call them and swap. We also don't do any black tank repair, but I know someone who does. So I'm always trying to solve the problem for the customer, even if we are not the solution. So, and then if you get there and it's just too much, what do you do?
Yeah, we'd be honest and we refer them out, and I don't even charge them a service call. We just move on.
Yeah. Because too many guys go and start the job and then realize that they're way in over their head, or they don't have time to finish it, or maybe they've misquoted it or whatever, and then they just don't show up again. And again, that puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth for RV repair guys, and we want to turn the tide on that. So that was 7 to-dos, and my bonus to-do is do schedule vacations for yourself so you don't burn out, because like we just said, there is a lot of work, and Chris could run 24/7 and still we would have people waiting. So make sure that you do take the time to take care of yourself, take care of your family. I'm sure one of the reasons why you've decided to be a mobile RV tech is to be autonomous with your time and not have a boss anymore. So don't neglect taking that time. So those are my major to-dos. Do you have anything?
Yeah, but what she's not telling you is that when we go on vacation, we actually take our service truck and pull our RV with it. So I don't get to take the vacation, but she does.
Well, it's important that one of us does it. So, okay. So I have the questions. So do I have Brian Peterson? Are you here? Okay, there you are. Brian Peterson, why don't you come on, introduce yourself, and maybe share some of your tips.
Do you have to unmute him?
I think he unmutes himself. Oh, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Okay, there we
There
go.
you
Can
are.
everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. I'm still getting up to speed on Zoom, so it's a work in progress. So my name is Brian Peterson. I own Up and Running Mobile RV Repair in Eastern North Carolina. I have been doing this for about 1.5 years now. I went to the RV Service Academy in Palmetto, Florida, about 6 months after I retired from the military. So my big goal was to not work for anyone again. And my wife and I had bought an RV, and after we had to get some work done on it, we realized that there was quite a bit of money to be made. And after we had to wait 3 weeks to get seen for pretty much just routine maintenance, we realized there was definitely an opportunity there. So that's what got me into this. The biggest advice I will give is you're going to occasionally take calls or get emails or texts from people that are going to give you a funny feeling. And those are in that very bottom 10% of your customers, and they're the worst ones out there. And it's pretty rare that you're going to get them, but they will occasionally come. If you get a bad feeling about a job, don't take it, because the bad customers, that bad 10%, will eat up 50, 60, 70% of your time if you let them. They're the ones who will, they'll call you out there, hey, my water heater won't turn on, and you'll go out there and you'll replace, a thermostat, and it take you 10 minutes, and you cut them a deal on the price and everything's good, and you leave. And then they'll call you the next day and say, well, now my roof's leaking. What did you do? And try and get you to come out and fix that. So usually those people give you an indication that something is up. So if you get that feeling like this, I don't think I want to take this, listen to your gut. You made some great points earlier about, just being real honest about customers. My first few months in, I let people know, look, I'm just getting started, and I will come and take a look. I will let you know what I think. If I am not confident I can fix it, I'm not going to start it, because I don't want to make the problem worse. But I always tell people I'll come and take a look, and I'll tell you what I think. But even now, there are plenty of jobs out there that I just can't do. And I'm one person working by myself. So when customers call, especially like with awning issues, if I need a second set of hands, I'll tell them, look, you need to be there and you need to be available to just, all you have to do is stand on the ladder and hold something. But if that's not something you can do, then I'm going to have to refer you elsewhere because it's just me. And I can't hold up a 25-foot ladder or a 25-foot awning by myself. That just doesn't work. You brought up some great points about getting to know the campgrounds. Drive slowly in campgrounds. Drive really slow. If you're not sure if you're going slow enough, slow down even more. Because I've had a number of campgrounds that have told me I'm the only one they will let back in because everybody else goes flying through there. And especially campgrounds that allow kids they get very upset about that real fast. So just go nice and slow in the campgrounds. I don't bring them gifts, but I do like to stop by, and when you go in and meet them, ask if they've got any special rules. And if they, just say, do you have any special rules? And if so, what are they? Because I want to make sure I comply with everything you guys want done. And that just it gives them it makes them feel good. It makes them feel a little bit more comfortable with you. Some of them may want to see your business license and your business insurance. So have a copy of that, have a hard copy with you, and have it saved to your phone so you can just email them a copy if they want to see it. And that some of them, for their own insurance reasons, can't let somebody on without that. So just be prepared to provide that. Some warranty companies want to see that as well, although most of them surprisingly just kind of take my word for it, which I guess that's on them. That's not really my problem, but that surprised me a little bit. The last thing I would say is the definite do is when you price yourself in comparison to everyone around you, price yourself competitively from the beginning. You might be a little bit lower than some places and a little bit higher than other places, but don't undersell yourself, because you can set yourself up real quick with people or with too much expectation for that price. If everybody around you is at 125 an hour and you come in at 75, sometimes you can actually drive customers away because they're going to wonder why you're so much cheaper. So just price yourself competitively and be honest. If you can't handle it, you can't handle it, refer it out. I get along great with all the RV places around me. We've got one dealership and one service center in my immediate area, and then a few others spread around in the area I cover. And go in there, meet them, say hello, see if they've swap stories about terrible customers, and that's a good way to establish rapport with them. And then just stay on good terms, because you'd be amazed how many times you'll suddenly need a part that you can't get, and something's happened and your customer has to leave in 2 days, and you're able to sometimes with just a call get the part and get it fixed the same day. So that, and you don't want people talking bad about you. So, but you're right, I do get a lot of referrals from the dealership because very few people want to do mobile work anymore. Everybody wants to have a shop, and part of me would love to have a really nice covered building with heat and air and everything else, but right now I'm doing mobile, and that's where I'm going to stick for the time being. So those are my just kind of spitball to start off suggestions. Sorry I missed the beginning of the meeting. I was just getting in and I had to stop and pick up dinner, so it's been a long day. But.
No worries. Okay, is Peyton Ritchie also here? Peyton Ritchie, are you here? He was supposed to be joining us as well. Well, if he joins us, I did record some of the questions that were put in the group. You touched on that a little, Brian. How do you set prices for your work? You touched on being competitive. Don't be afraid to, when you're reaching out to those other RV professionals, to ask them what their rate is. Just come out and ask them. They'll ask you if they're savvy business people. Brian, how do you handle warranty work?
So with warranty work, especially the first time you do it, it's a little bit intimidating, but I always let the customer know they need to reach out to the warranty company before I get there and open a claim number and get a direct phone number to whomever it is going to be handling it. So when I'm there, I can have them call the warranty company up and I can just tell them right over the phone what's going on. And often you can get authorization over the phone from them. Do not order parts until you have written authorization from the company, though, because I have had, was not a warranty company, I've had an RV dealership that has refused to pay me. And they still call me and refer people to me, but every time now I just tell them, well, tell your customer they can call me, but I won't work for them. But so contact the warranty company. Once you figure out what's going on, what needs to be done, contact the warranty company, get authorization, and then also at that time, confirm how they pay you. Most of them are going to want to pay you right over the phone with like a credit card once the repair is done. And that's the best way to do it, just because some of them will, yep, we'll cut you a hard check, but who knows when you're going to get that. So especially if you're going to be traveling in mobile, that could become problematic. I just tell them I only accept cards over the phone. Although I think Forest River will email you the card number. So pretty much the same thing.
So the way that we do it is I do customer reimbursement. I always make the customer pay for everything. I don't care if it's a dealership. I don't care if it's Forest River or if it's a warranty company. There's too many chances that the customer can disappear on you and you're stuck with this part and then you're not going to get paid. Or that you order the part and the customer disappears and then you're stuck with the part.
Yeah. And we don't want the legwork of having to chase after the checks, because there's so much already. This is one thing we didn't hit on. There's a lot of unpaid time that we've actually built into our hourly rate. Our hourly rate is a little bit more on the expensive time because Chris comes home and spends another 2 hours on the computer, as you know, chasing parts. It's been really hard now to find parts, chasing parts, following up with suppliers, all sorts of stuff. So we don't want to use any more unpaid time. So and I'll tell you what, so I handle the phones and I say, we do direct customer reimbursement. You pay us and we'll create a detailed invoice for you to submit to your warranty company so you can get reimbursed.
We'll even call the warranty company to get all the approvals and everything, and I'll submit it to the company, but I'm going to get a check reimbursed to the customer. Not only though, so let's say you get 3 customers that need 3 air conditioners. Now you're laying out $3,000 out of your own money and you're not getting paid until that AC comes in and it's on the roof. I don't really want to lay out that kind of funds, honestly.
Yeah. So, but I'll tell you, 9 out of 10 people say yes, no problem. And what you touched on, that funny customer.
Yep.
That was a really good point. You'll see a pattern of funny customers, and we just chalk up that 10th person to one of those funny customers and move on, because there's definitely not enough work. Otherwise, he'd never be away from the desk. Okay, what app do you use for scheduling?
I'm going to step away for 1 minute. I'm going to go grab my schedule book because I actually went on to Excel and created my own like a day planner insert because I couldn't find anything that was close to what I wanted. And I'll show it to you and it'll make a little bit more sense once I grab it. I'll be back in like 1 minute.
Your time, we'll talk about what we do. So we very simply use a Google Calendar that him and I share. And we just input the customer's name, the location, because it's a Google Calendar. It integrates with Google Maps, and so it helps him to get to where he's going. I put the customer's name, the location, the phone number to call them when we're on the way, any notes about what they need repaired, the make and model of their RV so that he can identify it when he's in the campground, the lot number. And then I give them a window of time. We used to give like exact times by the hour, but that got bad really fast. So we give them a window of time from 9 to 1, and then usually from 1 to 4. I'm flexible in that. Sometimes it's 11 to 4, whatever. But those 2 windows, and then he calls when he's on his way, and that makes life much simpler for us.
Yeah. And for payment processing, we use Square, because honestly, Square has an amazing software program that'll do estimates, invoices, and everything. They don't charge you a dime until you run your credit cards. Then they charge whatever it is, 3%. But even if I even process cash and checks through it, and they don't take any kind of a fee at all. It's only when they, when they run.
Hey, do you upcharge whenever if you're running that credit card on Square or something, like a 3% fee or something?
You can. Square will let you. We personally don't. I know a couple of RV techs that do. We charge a high hourly rate, so I feel that it fits into that. We charge $85 service call and $140 an hour. There's guys around here that charge $125, and now there's one that I just found out is charging $160.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I feel that I make enough money that I can afford to let the 3.5% or whatever it is percent go.
Right. And then when it's time to do your taxes.
Yeah, it becomes a tax write-off anyway, so.
Well, no, but to do the Square, to do the taxes is really easy to
calculate. Sales tax, so it also has a full reporting system. So at the end of the year, I give a report to my accountant, and he takes care of everything, right out of Square. And then I also once a month pull a report and pay the sales tax for the 3 counties that we service.
Right. And we also service 3 states because we're right in the corner of North Carolina. We're all the way in Western North Carolina in Murphy. So we handle Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee. And he'll be in all 3 states the majority of the days. And so he just picks which state he's in. The
software lets you pick what state you're in. You just switch accounts, and it's all tied to the same business. So.
Go ahead, Brian. Show us what you got.
Okay, so like I said, I made this myself. So this is, let me just pull one out. So when you open it up, I needed like a full 8x11. And so I ended up making one, every one of them. So it's got, let's see, so basically it's got the top each day of the week, and then you can put the person's name and time in. And then down below, I made big boxes where I can put my notes so that when I end up having to write down part numbers, or I have to, put whatever notes I need about that customer, I can put them in. And then you saw the next sheet was, so that's on the left. And then, oops, on the right-hand side, it is just a big blank white sheet of paper. And that is there so that I can draw out diagrams. If I've got to try and engineer what a solution looks like, or I'm trying to figure out what this plumbing schematic is going to, how we're going to go ahead and lay this plumbing out, I can go ahead and I've got a big sheet of paper there to draw on. So that's how I do my scheduling. Electronic scheduling, I'm not as disciplined about staying up on it as I need to be if I'm going to use that as a primary. So that's why I'm not doing it right now. But I do put reminders into my phone. I also use Square as my primary for processing, but I use QuickBooks for most of my accounting right now. And that was mainly because when I was at school, one of the other students was pretty good at QuickBooks and could teach me. So I went with that, and it's good enough for now. It's not the most fantastic system, but we'll see what the future holds. I just haven't had the downtime to be able to try and figure out a better solution yet. So. Oh, did I?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. Let's see where we were. What app do you use for scheduling? So Patrick wanted to know, scheduling, hiring, delegating are a few topics along with many others I could use some coaching with. So we talked about scheduling. Chris was actually really blessed to hire another tech who just came to the area and had 30 years experience.
39.
39 years experience. I wish he was on the call. He'd be a wealth of information as well. So the two of them go out together daily. So that helps with, like you were saying, Brian, awnings and all sorts of AC jobs, all the two-man jobs. We do a lot of furnaces, and that's a lot of work for one person as well.
And awnings. We do a lot of awnings. People around here, for whatever reason, leave their awnings out, and we're constantly replacing awnings. And I'll tell you something, hiring that guy has made a huge difference, because I used to be able to do 3 or 4 jobs a day by myself in a realistic time frame, and we're doing 6 to 8 a day now. I mean, depending on the job, and we're able to take bigger jobs on than I would have taken, because I have an extra set of hands and somebody who's so experienced. It's definitely well worth having him every day.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that, Brian?
So right now I'm a one-person show, and luckily there's the Eastern North Carolina where I'm at. There's like 3 or 4 major military bases. So there's a good amount of, there's kind of a younger crowd that are living in RVs out here. So I just always tell them, I'm like, if it's a 2-person job, I'm going to need somebody else there. If it's something where I need somebody to be constantly turning things on and off as I'm going through my diagnostics, a lot of times I just tell them, like, I need you to be here while I'm working on it. But as far as hiring, I'm going to have a problem with, because I'm going to try and hire myself. And I know I'm not going to be able to find somebody, I'm probably not going to get real lucky and be able to find somebody who's, has the same work ethic as me. So right now I'm staying as a 1-person show, but I do have a 15-year-old daughter who occasionally goes out with me if I need her. So she's pretty good at cooling units on refrigerators. So
Yeah, that's how we started. We started with our son, and then once a week I would go out with Chris, but we were really just, as he likes to say, glorified tool jockeys. Is that what you call us? So now that he's out with Hutch, they're in much better shape. He's got 2 brains instead of 1, who are all working on the things. I'm sorry, I'm in the midst of upgrading our account because
billing. Go back.
Oh, sorry. Here, maybe you can answer another question, Brian.
okay.
Do you carry tons of parts or order most? How hard are they to get, and does that affect where you choose to work?
Okay, that is a great question. It's hard. It's really hard to keep a supply of even parts like circuit boards can be difficult to keep in because there are so many variations of them out there. I do find that like the dinosaur boards for furnaces tend to be fairly universal. You can get those that'll work on multiple types of furnaces, but for the most part I order as needed. But all the small stuff like electrical connections, plumbing, things to repair plumbing, PEX parts, I keep all that on me. But if somebody needs a new awning motor, I'm going to have to order that. I'm not going to have one on hand just because those parts add up. You'd be amazed how fast parts add up. You'll have weeks where you do, it seems like the whole week you're doing diagnosing and you're determining, and you're ordering all the parts that you're going to need. And by the end of the week, you'll look at your bank account and you'll be kind of horrified at what's going on. And then the next week when you go install everything and start getting paid, now you've got a big, your bank account swells. But all the parts you order, for me being mobile, it's really hard to keep too much stuff in stock. So I keep very little in stock, but I try and have all the collateral items I might need. And definitely always have at least 2 tubes of Dicor for the roofs, because a lot of people, you can make yourself really, you can make a long-term customer if you're up on the roof for something else and you see something that looks like it could use a little bit of sealant, and you just clean it off and go get some and just, hey, I just did a little touch up on the ceiling. Even if it wasn't leaking, you can just tell them it looked a little problematic. And a lot of people, that carries a lot of weight for them. It lets them know you actually give a crap and you care about it. So,
Chris, how do you handle parts? Oh, are we still muted? Yeah. No, we are not.
So I'm the complete opposite. I have an F-350 pickup truck with a sliding tray that pulls the parts